All right, what's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the DenofTruth. It's your boy Tino, and it's a lovely day in Sydney. Feeling nice and blessed, feeling very energetic, man, and I appreciate all the support from the people. So look, when I started this podcast, my main aim was to really champion Australians, to really champion whether you're an artist, social activist, an athlete, to really get you on the podcast and really get people's story out, because there's a lot of dope people coming out of Australia right now, and I really want to champion their stories. So when I was doing my research and, trying to find people to get on and try to see who's popping around the city, one of the people that people kept talking about, she comes from the West. She came from down the road from me. I grew up in Caramata Fairfield. And, she grew up in Wenty, so she's from the area. So, knowing the go, there's that sort of understanding. So today we have UFC Fighter Nadia Kassem.
Hello.
How are you, Nadia?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
You good?
Yeah, I'm
You
sweet.
chilling?
Yeah,
Damn, so you've been busy, man. I've been seeing what you've been doing over the last year. So how's that been for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I'm coming off the last fight. Obviously a lot of lessons learnt.
Yeah.
So I've been really busy the last 4 months or so, back to back. And yeah, we'll keep at it since the fight's coming up in October.
And it's a big fight, man. I saw the person. Is it Ji-Yun?
Yeah, that's right. That's her name.
Ji-Yun,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Hopefully I don't slaughter her name, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's like Ji-Yun Kim or something. I don't know. I'll say it like the white way. I don't know.
But yeah, so I saw the fight and I was like, man, that's definitely I feel like you can definitely beat her. And I'm not just saying this because I got her on, but, I've seen a lot of development in your game, especially your stand-up game as well. So I definitely think that you got that. So how you feeling?
I'm feeling good coming around. I mean, you can only feel so good at a certain time. You're working really hard and everything, but I'm just trusting the process. What my coaches all give me, from my strength and conditioning coach, Anomaly Performance, to Australian top team coaches. And I'm really supported well, so I'm really confident in that. And at the moment, got a dietitian going too, first time ever.
Yeah.
His name is John Sullivan, out of the Fight Dietitian. He's very knowledgeable and very detailed, and he's there for you. You need that type of support around you, and that really makes a fighter too.
So pretty much you're just stepping your game up in regards to bringing different people or different people to the process. And I guess that's the hard part, isn't it? Do you feel as if you needed to go through what you went through to get where you are? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I was just speaking about it to my coach Simon today, and he was like to me, we're talking about it, sorry. And then, I was like, I just want to win, this time coming, after my first loss, that was a shit feeling. He's like, he goes, that fight was a blessing in disguise. You needed that, you know? And I do believe that, as hard as it felt and as shitty as it feels, sometimes you need to get knocked down to get back up, really, and work your way up there again.
Yeah. And I think that's the attitude, man. A lot of people just say, they take, these lessons and they just sort of just get depressed, they get upset. They don't realize if you change your mentality, you could turn this into a great opportunity. But one of the things also that I noticed from you is, watching your fights, watching all your interviews, is that you really champion coming out of the West. And you come from Whitmerville. Yes. I come from Caramata Fairfield, so I'm literally down the Cumberland. I know exactly where that area is from. So look, can you talk to me about how Western Sydney and growing up, Whitmerville has really shaped you as a fighter, and how that's influenced your sort of mentality? Yeah.
So what I think really living at a Wenty, it's not really as a hood as it. Some people perceive it as what I had say, but it's basically it's a tight, close-knit community, and you grow up with each other and from the same street, end up at the same schools and things like that. So it's really hard not to see certain things, and in saying that, you become exposed to things you don't want to be exposed to, but you're forced to, so in that sense you're forced to grow up. Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, growing out West, a lot of people say, oh, it's not as hood as people, people say it is, but literally it is, because that's the exposure that you see, growing up, we grew up with a great, it's a good thing and a bad thing. We grew up with a really big multicultural community where your neighbor, you could have a neighbor, Lebanese, African, Indian, Asian, literally living in the same street. So, and the good thing about that is that we grew up with such a, I think, a big mentality. There's a lot of bullshit that people from the West would just see straight past. And I think that's why I see from yourself and other Australian UFC fighters, you guys just get into it and you guys are just really proud of where you come from.
Yeah, it's the only way to be there. There's no shame in it. There is people that live in the eastern suburbs or wherever, that's cool too, but sometimes it's more of a come up when you come from an area that's not as, you know,
come up, yeah.
like, you know, this is some real come up shit, like some Drake story things.
Yeah,
you know?
nah, it is what it is, man. Fuck. But you know what? Though, one thing that I realized, whether that be musicians or athletes, have you noticed that everyone from the West is popping? Like right now, I just feel like
100%.
I just feel like people from the West have finally woken up and just realized, let's just make some money. Like, let's just do something constructive.
Yeah, it kind of keeps the come up rappers. You know, you got like you got A Huncher, you've got the 1-4, you got Pistol Pete and Enzo from Sydney Southwest. Like I grew up with those guys, so like
oh really?
I went to school with them, and I know exactly what they're like, and they're real, like they're raw motherfuckers, like no doubt about it.
Yeah. See, that's dope. But like you said, like growing up in the area, you end up knowing everyone. You know what I mean? Because there's like a certain period of time or chapter from like everyone from Western Sydney where like you hang out at the station, you get up to, you know what I mean? Like you just get up to bullshit, and then during that period of time, like you just grow up with, you just end up seeing so many people like passing by, and then now you start seeing them getting into different things, whether that being athletes, musicians. It's such a dope thing, like you know, it's dope.
Arrogance, awesome. I love it.
So, how'd you get into fighting?
How'd I get into it?
Yeah, how did you get into it?
So basically, my brother was training, like, so we live on the other side of the station at the time, Australian top team. And this is where I was living, like, my whole childhood until I was 18. But this was just before I started training, though. So he was training there for a solid year, maybe. And I was always watching him compete in jiu-jitsu and some MMA tournaments. No actual fights at that time, just tournaments and sparring stuff. But I would attend. I'm like, you know what? I think I could actually do this. And I kept watching him, and I was like, no, I was a bit hesitant. And then I did try it once, but I didn't like it. Like I was just gi, so it's BJJ gi. And I didn't grasp the idea. I didn't like the gi thing. I'm like, nah, I just want to punch people in the face. I just want to fight. Like that's why
you just have that aggressive mentality.
I just want to hit someone. Like you know what I mean? Like. Inflicting pain isn't always like, you know, it's not something that I have sympathy for. No one likes to get hit, but I love hitting, you know? But then no, like I didn't like it that first time, and then 5 months later I tried it again, and then I became obsessed with it. I think I kind of like took the nails off, had no hair extension at that time, so kind of like had to defeminize a little. But
defeminize. I like that word. Defeminize.
You gotta do that. You gotta do it. But I was obsessed with it, and then I started training for like 4 months straight, and that's when I had my first like BJJ comp, you know, and I killed it. So it was something that came kind of natural, but like obviously hard work comes with it too. Yeah,
I mean, we're talking a bit about this off air, but I've started doing jiu-jitsu this year, and one thing that now I appreciate with it is that you gotta fucking humble yourself, because there's a lot of like killers walking these streets. Like there are times where like literally, I think a lot of people don't understand that like. Yeah, there's a difference between like you can fight in the street, and then there's a difference between someone who actually trains full time and has already seen what the fuck you're gonna do in this moment. You know what I mean? So it's really made me like humble myself in understanding that if you think you can fight, realistically you don't. There's some humble there's like some humble killers out there in this world, and like he can just straight up fuck you up in the street at any time.
Oh yeah, but at the same time saying that, like I reckon if I got into a street fight now, they'll throw some crazy shit. Like it'll be something you don't expect, because always the newbies or the first timers always fucking hurt you because they throw some dumb shit and end up injuring you or something. It's like, fuck, what did I go with this person for?
Man, that's straight up me, man. Now that I realize when I first started training, I was throwing some dumb shit. Yeah, I was throwing some dumb shit as well. So what were you doing before fighting?
Okay, so
and when did you decide to make that like transition? Like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna do this full time.
Yeah, basically I was working like, so straight after school, like I didn't really get like the greatest marks or anything. Like I was smart, but you know, I just didn't, everyone says that they're smart, but like I just didn't like really try when it comes to studying. It wasn't my thing. So I jumped into a full-time job, and I was working for a wholesale company that distributed tradie wear. So I made a lot of connections in that sense with people and companies, you know, so that's where I started to get my exposure out, because this is when I first started training, you know, let alone fighting. So I was training. I worked at a company for 2.5 years, and it basically just like led on to other trade wear companies. But my last job before that was for DHL, and they used to distribute pharmaceuticals to doctors and pharmacies. So we dealt with a lot of first-hand things, you know. I dealt with life-threatening medication, and so basically when doctors would say like, oh, my patient's going to die if I don't get this tonight. Like there was some pressure. Like,
I used to work at DHL.
Oh, yeah?
At fucking Horsley Park.
I worked at the
Number
Horsley
4?
Park one.
Number 4?
I was at number 5.
Oh yeah, I was just around the
I was
road.
next door.
Shit, so well. Yeah,
I think it was
I worked
5
in
anyway.
HR there. I was working in HR.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
No, so I was down there, and then that's what I was doing. So no, I really liked it there. It was great, high pressure job. You got paid well.
Yeah.
But you know, when I got the call up for UFC, like my manager messaged me and he's like, "Check your emails right now." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Can this wait?" And he says, "Nah, check it right now." So I was like, "All right." So I was on my lunch break. I checked my emails and I was like, "Holy shit, the UFC contract!" And then he's like, "Boom, you're fighting," like, and blah blah blah. So yeah, that was when I was kind of like, all right, I think I'm gonna. So I was planning to go to Thailand. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Thailand and like not come back. So I gave him all the
notice and shit.
Yeah, the notice. Like none of these like running away.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Like
I was
I
gonna
ain't coming
say.
back. Sorry guys. But they were really like cool with it because they kind of knew from the get go this is what I do on the side, but I take it serious because I was a professional when I was working there.
Yeah.
So they knew and I got paid for my fights and whatever. So yeah, and that's basically what happened.
It's a crazy story, man. So how was that feeling, man, when you got that ring from the USA? Like,
Yeah, it was pretty like.
is that like what you were inspiring to do? Like at that time, was that your goals? All right, shit, I'm gonna train. I'm gonna fight in these smaller leagues until I can eventually get to UFC, or is that what you were
I
trying
was
to do?
actually kind of like happy to just continue doing what I was doing. But I did realize like I was gonna get an international call up. Like I'm not being cocky or anything, but I knew it was gonna be, you know, Invicta or, you know, Ryzen or anything like, you know, anything else, Bellator or whatever. Like I didn't think just then and there.
Yeah.
But I knew eventually because in Australia, like it's not as common for females to be MMA fighters. And at the time when I was a pro, like early pro or whatever, like 2-0, whatever, there was no girls to fight. Like my last fight was against an international opponent because there was like no one. And if they weren't pro yet, or a lot of people rejected me as well to fight because they don't want to ruin their record, they don't want to get hurt, whatever.
Yeah, don't want to get fucked up.
Yeah, fair enough. And
yeah,
at the time,
yeah.
my streak was solid, so I understand why, you know. And I think being like on the local scene, I was more of a risk taker, so I was like jumping at people, like it was crazy, you know. But, yeah.
No, man, you gotta have belief in yourself, man. No one fucking believe in you. But
Yeah.
do you think that there were any barriers of entry into the fighting scene because you were a female, or do you feel?
Not really in a way, like because our team is like really accepting of like other chicks and stuff. Like I was like the second fighter to fight out of Australian top team, so they just treat me like one of the other guys, and like there's no like sexist type thing. Like everyone kind of gets treated equal, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool like that. We had a like decent kickboxing, few girls as well, but now it's basically just MMA fighters. But no, I was pretty good in that sense. Like in the way that's different with exposure though. Like let's be real, like. If I was a guy and I was not like decent, had decent body or decent looking, like I would have as many followers or exposure. But like, you know, you put up photos of some like ass and titties, and then like boom, like everyone knows who you are and shit. So
It was crazy like that.
There is a sexist aspect to it, man.
I was
say.
Yeah, I was on your gram, and I was looking at that. Like I was doing my research. All right, and I was looking at the comment section.
Okay, research.
Yeah, I was looking at the comment section. I saw some wild shit in there, man.
Oh, there is.
Your comment section is like a zoo in there, man.
Get some popcorn and get ready. Like that is a ball. Like, I mean, when I'm bored, like I rarely go through it, but sometimes my girlfriends, like some randoms, they would like screenshot stuff, send it to me. They'll be like, "Oh my god, check this guy out." Like I was like, nah. Like I try not to play it up, but it's hilarious. Like I can't lie.
Nah, there's some males out there who are just straight up savage, man.
Oh,
like I feel like they feel as if they hit you on the comment section, something might come up. You know what I mean? It's such a weird thing.
Oh, it's like fucking Russian roulette on that shit. Like I wouldn't trust it. It's hilarious.
So what are your thoughts right now on the Australian mixed martial arts scene? Because one thing that I noticed is that it's gaining a lot of popularity. I think it's really good to see, like, you know, females like you coming out of the UFC. Then you got like Bam Bam Tuivasa, you got Tyson Pedro, and then even across the border you got Israel Adesanya, you know, Robert Whittaker. The cards coming up next. I think it's really dope to see like the sport getting bigger and bigger. Like, do you see it getting bigger and bigger? Like,
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, if someone asked about any good Aussies 10 years ago, they would only like, I don't know what names, you know, they'll be popping up. I mean, I wasn't a fan of it at that time or anything, but it's definitely getting bigger in Australia. Like it's a very young sport. Like MMA is only 20 years old. Like
really?
Yeah, only.
Shit.
Right? So like what is it 20? Yeah, so like in the 90s, right? Before that, you tell someone that you're in a cage with small gloves and you can knee to the head and like wrestle and do all this stuff. They think you're crazy. Like it's a blood sport. Like it really is, because it can go anywhere. Like you got so many different variations. You got judo, taekwondo, kickboxing, your jiu-jitsu. Like it can go anywhere. You know, it's scary. You know, and they had no weight divisions either. So you had
Which
like,
is like
small
shit.
guys in a gi fighting like big jacked up guys, on steroids and shit because there was no
Everyone's
USADA
like,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah, yeah.
So it was a pretty crazy time.
And I've always wondering now, how's the USADA process? Do they test you like prior to the fight and after the fight, or do they just come at any time?
Anytime. So basically, USADA's on your back. And if you like leave the city, you got to write in this little calendar like I'm going, like where you're gonna be, address, your overnight stay, your training period. So wherever I'm training, I got to put on the hours on this calendar so they know when I'm at the gym, when I'm at work, because they got to rock up and they don't notify you. They just rock up
Really?
to wherever you are.
They're just on your ass like
Anytime.
That's crazy.
Anytime, any morning, any night, they can either do like just piss test or piss and blood test.
And blood test as well.
Yeah,
I
sometimes
didn't know they were
I've
doing
been blood tested once out of the 10 times I've been tested.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, also one thing that I wanted to get into was, so we're talking also about this a little bit off air, but you took a period of time off.
Yeah.
So, obviously you're battling injury. And one thing that really got me into you and respecting you a lot was, I think that you were one of the first, one of the first mixed martial arts athletes that was openly talking about taking a break due to focusing on their mental health. I think so often we focus on our physical health. All of us, we have rehab, we have dietitians to work on our physical health, but one thing that we don't focus on is our mental health. But, like you said, young, coming onto the UFC scene, that's really stressful, having, thousands of people watch you, and you really talked about, how that's affected you and what you did to sort of help yourself, and I thought that was really dope. I thought a lot of people, I was looking at a lot of people's reaction to that, and a lot of people were saying, we're going through the same thing, but we just didn't know how to express it. We didn't know someone was comfortable speaking about it, and when you spoke about it, a lot of people I've noticed have gotten a lot more comfortable, especially athletes. So, can you tell me a little bit about like that period of time and what you were going through and, how you sort of
dealt
with that?
It kind of happened basically like after the UFC fight. So, even though I won the first fight and everything, I didn't really feel like it was as earned as it could have been, because I missed weight that time. Obviously, as hard as people are like, the crowd and the fans and her fans and, like even though I gave like 30% of my purse, it wasn't even about that. It was just like, I felt shit about it, because I was embarrassed, my debut on a world stage and I missed weight,
Why'd you miss weight?
It was a bit hard. Like, obviously it is hard, but, I had come down from 63, it's meant to be to 52. And I weighed in at 54. I did, like, I'm not saying it's an excuse, maybe my diet wasn't on point. Like, that's why I have a dietitian now. I mean, I've moved up a weight, but, I'm just trying to be as safe as possible. Yeah. But basically at the time, I didn't have a proper dietitian or anything like that. And I was getting my period that week and not knowing or whatever, did the cut, I tried sweating like to the point where like I was in trackies, beanie, jumper, whatever. And I'm not sweating anymore in the sauna. Like I was just getting hot because I'd already sweat all the fluid out and I was like cramping up. My hands were like this, my feet were like this. Couldn't talk,
nasty,
move. Ugly feeling, and then you have guys next to you that are just sweating like crazy. I was like,
what's going on?
Why can't I sweat? Like I was at one point, but I stopped. And then the doctor came to my room in the morning and was like, you can't cut any more weight. Like your heart rate is really slow. Yeah. And like, you look like shit. And I did all my vital tests and stuff. And he, disapproved any further of the cutting weight. So it was a bit of online blasting for that. And like that, I don't think that got to me, but of course, like it doesn't help with what you already feel. Yeah. So, like no one to wake up in the morning, for example, like maybe you shouldn't, but like opening your phone and then just seeing like it's all negative shit. It's like, fuck, I don't want to do my day. Yeah, exactly. People might ask from the get go, like piss off, but yeah, like that shit gets to you. I had a relationship, go south as well. Like he was my coach as well. So it was really hard I couldn't really train for a while. Yeah. Because we're having our own issues and stuff. But, we got back into it. Like we just became professional about it. Yeah. And, it was all good now. Like we're great friends and he's still my coach. So it worked out in the long run. Yeah. Look,
I think that's dope, man. Like, I guess it's just life. You know what I mean? Like shit happens in life. People are dealing with shit. But just talking about what you're saying about the whole people commenting and shit. Like, have you noticed that the people who are usually commenting negative shit are the people who, if you go on cause I'm hard on this shit. Like if you're hating on me, I'm gonna check you out. Majority of the people who are hating on you, if you check them out, they ain't doing shit with their life. They did misery loves company. That shit is contagious. Like once they find someone who's doing all right, you can see them try to do well for themselves. You see them looking good, making money, living a good life. people just want to hate on you. They just want to jump on you. You know what I mean? It's such a pathetic sort of thing. Like, I definitely understand, and I see it happening with so many athletes.
Yeah, a lot of sour people, and like nothing better. Like I think they just feel better about themselves and they just put on other people. I guess it's just like a bully go-to type thing.
Nah, definitely. It's even worse when it's like people who like for me, like what's heavy is that like I understand that like if you're in the limelight or if you put your art out there to the world, like you're gonna get criticized, and that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But the worst is when like someone who like you see on a daily basis, because I don't fuck with that shit. Like if you're my mate, and like for example, if you're my mate and this podcast wasn't good, I expect you to tell me. You know what I mean? Just like for example, if you have a fight and you perform shit, like you expect your mate to tell you straight up you perform shit. But like for example, if your mate or one of my mates told me I performed good, and then all of a sudden you see them on the internet acting a particular type of way.
Oh, yeah,
like for me, like I cannot stand that shit.
Yeah, like I get that in a way, but like I feel like with my profession, like I don't really care about people's opinions unless they're in my life as a coach or something else, you know? Like I do respect a lot of other athletes, but I get dirty when like randoms that don't understand sport comment and be like, oh, you didn't look strong, or you didn't this. Like, you didn't fucking feel the bitch on top of you. I did. Okay, she was heavy. You know, like I felt, and you know what? I did feel strong in my previous fight. Like I actually felt strong.
Yeah.
I just felt the weight difference, you know, obviously coming up a weight division, like I'm like, fuck, like I didn't end up gaining as much weight as I thought I would have, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, like now, like I'm fucking way more leaner, so it's a bit harder. But no, like that just shit happens and it's just normal. So either I cop it on the chin, or like when people say stuff, or you got to like bite back and you got to be like, do you train? How many fights have you had? None? Fuck off then. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like no.
Like a zero opinion.
Yeah.
But it's all good. That happens all the time.
So what have you changed in your environment to sort of help you, I guess, dealing with your mental health and dealing with your physical health? What have you changed?
I mean, I think now with my mental health, I definitely am more consistent. So I'd see someone professional, say a psychologist, I have a psychiatrist, and, you know, and I'm medicated and things like that. And I'm on top of that stuff, and I'm not just, still like things still get to me, and I know sometimes it hits you. You can't always, you know, put the anxiety aside. Like even with medication, that shit still pops up. Maybe not as severe, but like you got to find mechanisms. You know, you got to have an outlet to like besides your normal routine. So like people, they work 9 to 5 or whatever it is, like anything that you do like for money or professional, like is still not downtime. Yeah. So I'm trying to give myself that, like really get into books and like things like that to calm myself, because I'm a bit of an I get very irritated and agitated like real quick. Yeah. And it's something that I wish I didn't have, but it comes with it. So sometimes you got to embrace it at a time in a way, but you got to handle it at the same time.
What's your star sign?
I'm a Scorpio.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, what about you?
I'm a Leo.
Nice. Yeah. Your birthday's coming up?
Yeah, sorry?
Your birthday's coming up?
It just came past. It was July 26th.
Yeah,
no,
sorry
it's
about
all
that.
good.
I'm like, it's around.
So what sort of books are you reading? What vibe are you on right now? What are you feeling?
So I was reading oh my God, I forgot what it's called. How to not give a fuck?
The subtle art of how to give
it. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. See, I'm halfway through that. Yeah. See, I don't read the freaking front cover. I'm horrible. And I'm reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It's like this old school philosophy. And my strength coach actually gave it to me. So he's like, I think this will help you a bit with like anxiety and stuff. So I'm still at the start of that. I should finish my books instead of going to the next one. Can't even remember the names and things like that. But, you know. You
can't remember the names.
I can't remember the names. They're like, what's it called? Because I don't even like look at them. Just like see all the like it's blacked out a bit. And I'm like, yeah, mad. Yeah. I'm horrible.
So that being said, you know, talking about your process, you know, starting fighting, and then obviously going through what you went through, now starting in your next fight. What is your, if you give some advice to, you know, fighters or people who want to get into mixed martial arts, what is sort of some advice you would give to them, you know, to get on top of early?
You know, to get into any type of professional athlete or whatever it is, there's got to be consistency. You got to be resilient. You know, resilience a big thing. Like someone goes down, you got to get up. Like, you know, so consistency, resilience, and, you know, hard work. Like, you know, and if you're passionate about something as well, like no matter what type of obstacles be in your way, you'll overcome it. You know, if you really love something, you'll go for it. Yeah.
And I think that's totally true, man. Like, I don't know if I could be working like 9 to 5 for the rest of my life.
Yeah, no, especially if you're miserable about it. Yeah. If you're enjoying your job, then yeah. But if you're really hating your life and you feel like you're not going anywhere and there's no progression, then I definitely see why someone would want to like go somewhere else. You know, that's how I felt too. Like I felt like there was no progression, and because didn't have a certain strength, you know, in a certain role, like, you know, you can't excel. So, yeah.
But I think, like, you know, even talk about what you're saying about, like, coming out of high school, like, doing the ATAR, like, they put so much pressure on you to, like, make a decision when you're 18.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know shit when you're 18. Like, if I could
I
get
was
back,
saying this today.
like, if I could get back to myself when I was 18, like, I didn't know shit. Like, how was I supposed to make, like, a life decision? Like, I went to uni and shit. I did commerce, and I majored in HR. So, like, I did a pretty broad subject, and I was all right. Like throughout high school, like, I always tell people, I don't know how the fuck I passed uni. Like, I literally don't know to this day. Like, I just knew how to,
so
like...
you graduated and everything?
Yeah, I finished everything. Like, I just knew from high school to university, it's a system. Like, if you understand the system and you understand what to do to beat the system, you're 100% going to beat the system. Like, right now, like, I work with people, they haven't gone to uni, and they're like, they're a lot smarter than me. Do you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're not a school type of person. Like, I know a lot of people who, like, they're smart, they can't be fuck studying. They don't see a point of it. Yeah. It's like the thing about, like, algebra. I've never used X equals Y. Like, why do I need to learn this?
Yeah, why am I doing this? I mean, unless you're going to be into science and that's really beneficial and somehow works into your profession from there, then okay. But if not, then it's a waste. I mean, I wasn't allowed to do maths in 11 and 12 because you got to do a test to get into it. And then I was like, see ya. So I failed that. So I couldn't do maths in 11 and 12. All I can count is money. Right? Besides that, don't give it to me.
Yeah. Like, I failed maths as well. I didn't do maths in 11 and 12. You know what I did? You know, you get to pick your electives.
Yeah.
I knew I wasn't going to do maths. So I picked up, like, 2-unit religion.
Jeez.
I picked up, like, extension history. Like, I did. That's what I mean. You know, if you know how to cheat the system, like, you will do well. Yeah. Like, a lot of times they tell you got to do, like, economics, law, business. It's like, no, you don't. Like, for you to get into it, like, I know a lot of people, like, some of my homies used to, like, throughout high school, they were just, like, doing whatever, not studying. They did TAFE 1 year, and then they went to, like, UNSW and UC, like, the next year. Yeah. Like, you know, they don't tell you that, like, I think a lot of it is just that, like, it also looks very good on the school as well. Like, if you're getting a bunch of people getting a 98, that makes your school look really good. Yeah. But they don't really focus on, like, you as an individual and helping you grow and getting to you what you wanted to do.
Yeah, that really sucks for a lot of people, especially people that are a bit hesitant and, like, shy and they don't want to actually, they're scared to ask. You know, like, there's, like, what is there, like, counselors for career advisors, right? Career advisors. So some people are just, like, you know, not as confident that way, and they're like, oh, nah, like, I'll do it myself. So people do need to push 100%.
Yeah. What would you have done if you weren't a fighter?
Well, I mean, what I was doing clearly wasn't going to get me anywhere, and, like, it sucks to say, I hope I wouldn't be stuck in an office job forever. Yeah. I've always thought about, like, studying things like that, studying again, but I don't know, like, I don't even think I can do it. Like, I know I could do it if I wanted to do it, but I'd have to really want to, but no idea.
Yeah. If you could study something, what would it be around? Like, what would it be in the field of?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, there was a stage when I applied and I did a speech pathology course. Mm-hmm. Would have helped with my own speech because I stutter sometimes. But yeah, I did that for like 6 months, and then it got too intense with, like, working full time and training as well. So I deferred from that. But no, that was interesting, and I really liked the concept, like, especially, like, focusing on younger children, things like that, because I'm all about, like, helping the younger generation, you know, and, like, pushing them. Not so much, I'm not so great with, like, kids, but I think, like, 10 to, like, 18, you know, juveniles. You know?
Juveniles, yeah.
No, it's a good age to, like, especially a lot of, like, broken kids come from really bad homes, or there's little shits at school. Like, it's good to pull them up. That's why I like to coach youth as well, because I coach youth, and, you know, I really enjoy it.
No, it's because I feel like I'm on the same vibe as you, man. Like, I remember when I was like between 14 to 18, I wish I had someone like me now to, like, just tell me, shut the fuck up, like, pull me up and, like, let me know, like, what to do, what to avoid. You know, if there's something that I wanted to do, like, how to actually focus on it. Because now I see, like, a lot of other, like, you know, kids that, like, are coming up and they're doing similar things, and I always try to, like, give them a shout out, because each one teach one. Like, you know, like, imagine if you had someone, you know, to teach you what you wanted to get into. And I think, you know, that's something that, like, I think coming out of Western Sydney, we got to try to do a lot more, because we see a lot of talented people. And, like, I don't even think that you mean to do it, but sometimes people end up just looking up to you. Yeah. Or looking up to you and seeing what you're doing. I mean, you probably notice it, like, with you especially. Yeah,
like, you don't really realize what you're doing. It, like, sticks out to a lot of people, especially, like, it's really crazy when I see someone young, like, or parents message like, oh, my daughter wants to be like you, or they take a photo of the daughter training, they'll be like, you know, when she grows up, she wants to be a fighter like you. Like, I find that shit crazy.
That's crazy.
Because
yeah.
you don't realize what you're doing. Like, people are looking at you, and the next generation, like little kids, they're watching you, not want to be like you. Especially if someone like me who doesn't actually want to be a role model.
Yeah,
it kind of scares me that, like, you know, things I will do because I'm not child friendly, you know, most of the time, like, I don't want to influence them in a bad way, but like that sometimes you just kind of got to do you, and then like whatever happens in a way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think it's influencing in a bad way. I mean, like you said, like some kids, they're just violent. Like it's not that they're just violent, but that is what they enjoy. Like some kids like science, other kids like mixed martial arts. So like that's what they want to do. So when they see someone like you and they can sort of relate to where you're from, they can relate to what you've done, they can tell the same stories. You know, that kid from Caramata is going to be looking at you, and that little girl's going to be like, I want to be like Nadia, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. That's crazy because also on the other side as well, it's like a lot of pressure for you to like do more.
Yeah. I definitely understand that. Yeah.
So this is a fighting question. Who do you got? Whitaker, Adesanya? What are you feeling?
Like at the skill set, I just feel like Whitaker's more well-rounded, so I'm rooting for him. But I mean, they're really both great, talented guys. And Whitaker's really humble. I mean, Israel talks, but like he can back it up as well. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, he's going to see what happens on like MMA, man. Like, I swear, like anything can happen at any time. But I don't know. I feel like Whitaker looks stronger, but you know, we'll have to see.
I didn't know Whitaker was a brown belt.
Oh, really?
I did not. That's fucking legit. Like, if you're like, I did not know it was a brown belt.
Nah, he's decent.
I think it's good for the whole like Australia, New Zealand area. Like, I think people already just like, if you're from a certain region, they think this is the same shit either way.
Yeah, I know. They're like, oh, like same.
Yeah, but literally, but they don't know it's completely different.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to see that shit in Sydney. Like, I don't know why. Do you know why they did it in Melbourne?
I'm pretty sure the NRL grand final that is on the same weekend.
Really?
In Sydney.
In Sydney?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's at like ANZ or whatever it's called now.
Damn.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
That's that, I'm pretty sure. And then Parramatta's like an open thing, so that would not be there, the stadium.
Yeah. Doesn't it close? The Parramatta Stadium?
I don't know.
The Bankwest one?
I have no idea, but fuck, those seats are pretty steep.
The chat, yeah. The chat
they're steep as. I went to a soccer game and I died. I was like I thought I was unfit. Like, I was fit, you know what I mean? I was spitting out.
But anyways, Nadia, I really appreciate you coming onto the podcast. We're rooting for you. We know you're going to kill it. But yeah, thank you. And appreciate it.
No worries. Anytime. Thanks for having me on.
No worries. Okay.